your preferred partner for custom software development and technology outsourcing. We offer state-of-the-art customized software development services that are client-centric, flexible, and secure to empower businesses.
Hey, it's Rich Tehrani. We're at ITEXPO 2021 in Miami Beach, South Beach, right down the street from here. Really nice. Come on down. Love to have you here. We've got Fletcher Hamilton with Sevis Systems on our program. I got that right, Fletcher?
Yeah, right.
It's my first interview of the day, so I have that mnemonic to remember names, so I did a good job. So what we didn't talk about off camera is what your company does. Tell me a little bit about what your company does, please.
So Sevis Systems has been around for quite a long time, primarily working in the security space in mobile networks, and we've recently developed a solution we call eCallMe, which is a customer engagement platform for getting good calls answered, right, between whether they be businesses, contact centers, and end users. And we really looked at our business and said, we do some really powerful things inside of cellular networks, mobile networks, and we took that solution and we flipped it around and we provided a solution to try to fix the problem of nobody's answering phone calls anymore. And what's the impact of that to businesses? And it's fairly significant, in the neighborhood of hundreds of millions of dollars a day for people who don't recognize a phone call that comes in. You just think about your life today and your phone rings and you look at it and you say, who's calling, why are they calling? And now you say, can I trust this call? With the amount of spoofing that goes on and robocalling and all of those types of things. So we built a solution that's a very unique customer engagement platform that provides a secure personal digital experience between businesses, their clients, to provide a solid communication and actually reduce the number of calls that are going unanswered.
So the business is able to determine the caller coming in? Is that how it works?
This
a business?
is actually on the outbound side. This is contact. Think of it as a contact center. You call into a contact center. They tell you can be on there for 20 minutes, a 20-minute wait, or they can call you back. Right? So you put your number in. They call you back when they're available, and you don't have that contact center's number or that business's number in your phone book, and it'll be picked up by either a spam filter or it's just not in your contacts, so it'll immediately go to voicemail. So that the cost of doing that, there's an estimates out there that roughly 94% of all unknown calls go unanswered, right? And that creates a huge problem for real businesses that are trying to contact their customers. I mean, it has been proven that in today's world of AI, chatbots, and all those wonderful things, that a lot of people are doing mostly web services, right? And they can sort most of their issues out online. So when you get into the voice world again, when people have for 20 years, 30 years been saying voice is going down, it's still the most powerful thing, because when customers really have an issue, they have to talk to somebody about it, right? And getting those calls answered has been a real problem lately.
So can you tell us what you do, how you make that happen?
Yeah, so we actually do it. We have a function, we call it a Trusted Caller ID, and it's a mobile app that sits on a phone. We have both a white labeled version of it as well as an SDK version, so it can integrate tightly into an existing app. So to kind of fight that resistance on app downloading, right? So it would be a relationship you already have with a business. And then what we do is we trigger on that outbound call actually being made by the business. And we send a signal down to the phone to tell it that this is a valid call coming. So we're one of the only solutions that you could actually spoof the CNAME, the caller, the CNAME, and the actual phone number, and we'll be able to flag that as a fraud call. Right? If you're familiar with the term A&I harvesting, right? They go out and these bad guys harvest all these outbound numbers, the big banks, insurance companies, and then they spoof those, right? And try to pick up little bits of information in order to do the ultimate goal, which is the account takeover.
That's great, and I think it's a very necessary function, because just personally I've experienced that where I press a button to get a call back, and you don't know if you got the call back or not, because you get so many calls that are unknown. You're not sure if you didn't pick it up. You did pick it up. Had you picked it up, maybe you would have gotten the transaction completed, but you didn't, and your choices are either you pick up every call, or if you're busy during one of them, you're doing something else and you don't know it's a call, you don't have a chance to pick it up. So if I knew in advance that was the call from the airline, that I know that I need to speak to them about a flight I need to modify or whatever, that would be extremely helpful.
And that's the way we've done it. And one of the genesis of this thing is I have a friend of mine who works in telecom, but most of them have for many, many years. And when he wanted to get a hold of me, and I didn't necessarily want to talk to him, he'd spoof my wife's phone number. And then it would go into my contacts database, my wife's picture would show up, and he'd get me every time. And that was as we were kind of looking at how we take our existing technology and flip it around and prevent that stuff from happening. That this is where we wound up. We started looking at the business side of it, and again, hundreds of millions of dollars are lost every day on valid calls from businesses to clients that they have to leave a voicemail, and you get into this circular motion of, I just called you called me back, and the frustration that builds from that, and the lost revenue from a business.
That's great. What's next for the company? What are you up to?
So what we're doing really is expanding that solution. We also and providing a much more interactive environment. So right now it's just about terminating calls, and provided, again, with a trusted caller ID, which will give a very unique screen display with the company's logo on it, including the reason for the call, the purpose, and then a check mark. And this thing integrates tightly with StirShaken, so it's not some rogue solution that's running out there. And what we're doing now is providing interactive services. We just released a couple of features. One of them is a scheduling function, so that when you do call in that contact center and they call you back, you can reschedule that call on the fly, right? And go into their calendar, say, well, I'm not available now. Let's do it in a half hour from now, and then it'll go back, lock into their calendar. And then we've also done is add some customer enhancements to that, insofar as like the equivalent of a net promoter score, right? So you can see how well was this call, how good was the call, how was the experience, and those things that are valuable back to the customer service side.
That's great. Well, it looks like you're fixing something that's broken and needed fixing, and it sounds like any medium to large enterprise or organization that makes a lot of outbound phone calls should be talking to you, if I'm not mistaken.
That we would agree 100% with that, Rich. No doubt about it.
And how do they find you?
You can find us on the web at www.sevis.com is the best way to contact us.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Rich. Thanks for having me.